Greetings, everybody. This is the weekly forecast commencing on Monday, August the 26th, 2024. Big, important week as Mercury, communication Mercury, is going direct after being retrograde since August the 4th. Mercury in retrograde, you always think of Murphy's Law. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong. A time of misinformation, miscommunications. Whatever you were expecting may be more disappointing, more delayed. But the Mercury is going direct Wednesday, the 28th. And when I mention every time Mercury starts to go backwards or starts to go forwards, those couple of days around the changing of directions is when you tend to see more of the snafus and mishaps of Mercury in retrograde. So this week, be careful. Plus, there's a new moon next Monday. Why am I bringing that up? Because there's a new moon which sets our intention to a new focus, a new priority every 4 weeks. So at early August, August the 4th, there was the last new moon. And now the next one is September the 2nd. The last week of the lunar cycle, that last week before the next new moon, is when what you were what your intentions were directed towards with the last new moon, this is when things are wrapping up, bringing closure, winding down. So the last week of the lunar cycle before a new moon is not advised to be launching major new projects because you're swimming against the stream. In other words, the lunar energy is winding down before starting a new cycle and then winding up next week. Plus the fact that Mercury's in retrograde until the 28th, and the rule of thumb is at least the first 2 weeks after Mercury goes direct, they're calling it the shadow phase. And that basically is because, yes, on Wednesday, Mercury goes direct, and information starts to have more clarity. Your thinking processes starts to get a little bit more sharp. Things that have been hidden starts to be realized. But think of Mercury as your mind. And when the mind is that with the Mercury stops on the 28th, then there's this intensity with your thinking processes, worrying a lot, obsessing a lot. And then as it starts to move forwards, it's going very slowly. So your mental faculties, your mind is still sluggish, maybe still not trusting your thoughts or trusting the timing to make important decisions. And it's the last week before the new moon. So this is the week to reflect, to just rest and think about September, but don't be locking in any commitments or promises. Now, before I get into what's going on each day of this week, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. And if you go into the description box underneath the video, you'll find a direct link to book an astrology reading or check out my 2-question offer. All right, on Monday, August the 26th, the moon is in Gemini. The the moon represents the general public tone. And Gemini is scattered, it's talkative, it's restless, it's mentally stimulated, it's socially outgoing. So it's not boring. You're just all these ideas and running around. And but by early evening, maybe late afternoon, Pacific time, Venus, social Venus, will be in harmony with progressive, original, innovative Uranus. This might happen a couple of times a year, so it's not a common transit. And your desires of Venus, whether it's romantic, social, creative, that with that Uranus, you're up for something new and different. This can be really favorable for hanging out with friends or going to some networking event, a big gathering. And that's on a more impersonal level. On a more personal level, Venus-Uranus could be very favorable for a sudden infatuation. And if you are you're in a relationship, that Venus-Uranus Monday evening, Pacific time, could certainly, trigger some new romantic ideas and try something new, something stimulating. On Tuesday, the moon continues in talkative, intelligent Gemini, but it's going to be in harmony around 10, 11 a.m. Pacific time to Mercury, communication Mercury, still retrograde. Gemini is the sign ruled by Mercury, but the moon will be in harmony with Mercury. And the Mercury actually is stationary because then it's going direct on Wednesday. Stationary means if you look through a high-powered telescope, now it's all an optical illusion because the planet itself is never stopping and going forwards and backwards. But when you're looking through a telescope, it appears that it is stopped going backwards. It stops retrograding. It's just a total stationary, intensifying the mind. And then on Wednesday, it starts to slowly move forwards and open up. But mid-morning, Pacific time, that moon in harmony with Mercury, that's stationary, this could be really favorable for discussing, talking about your feelings. The moon could even be about your family situations, where there's been any kind of misunderstandings during the Mercury retrograde. This harmony from the moon, you might be able to start clearing things up. This is really good for writing. That's Mercury. For studying, for learning. And there's this intensity of it on a positive level that Tuesday. Later in the day, Pacific time, around 5, 6 p.m., the moon in Gemini will cross over Mars in Gemini. Now, Mars is a 2-year cycle. So, in other words, moon in Gemini crossing over the Mars in Gemini could only happen once every 2 years. Now, Mars, and so the moon is all these emotional reactions. Mars, especially as Mercury is stationary, this could be triggering a tremendous amount of enthusiasm, ambition, and drive in the positive. But for some people, you might be also feeling really anxious. And if you're feeling like an argument is coming up, you may just want to, leave the area and break the energies. So on Wednesday, now the Mercury is officially going direct, But like I said, it could take a week or two for Mercury, your mind, to get back to its regular speed, or where you're feeling more confident, your mind is stronger. Now, the moon throughout the day is in Cancer. Where the moon was in Gemini, Gemini, it's very external, brainstorming, talking to everybody, networking, and saying hello to as many people. The moon goes into Cancer, more of the general tone of the public is more private, more reflective, more. That moon in Cancer, a lot of people may just feel like staying close to home, but it certainly is triggering a lot of feelings and emotions with the moon in Cancer. Now, Venus, the planet of love and desire, will be in opposition or confrontation with Neptune. That Venus-Neptune, on the day Mercury is going direct, starting to release a lot of pent-up energies, especially misunderstandings, assumptions when that Mercury was in retrograde. This could be a day with the Venus-Neptune when you could be feeling really uncertain and confused about your relationship. Or you could feel that something is up, something's not clear, because Neptune can mean deception. It could be confusion in your relationship. So especially on Wednesday, where you're going to be feeling really emotional and your mind is being really intensified. But the Venus-Neptune, I wouldn't be making any decisions or any assumptions about your love life. You might even be discovering, because the Mercury is no longer hidden and is starting to open up, with your loved ones, close relationship of Venus, you could find out that they have not been completely honest, or you're finding secrets that is now being revealed. And all this can be really emotional. On Thursday, now the moon in Cancer is in harmony with grounding, stabilizing Saturn, 9:10 a.m. Pacific time. This is when whatever was going on Wednesday, emotionally, you can start feeling more grounded, more secure. And Venus, which was in confrontation to nebulous, sometimes deceptive, certainly confusing Neptune on Wednesday, now the Venus is in harmony with Pluto, the lord of the underworld, the unconscious. And so Venus to Pluto can be where your feelings and desires are being pulled to really have a deeper, more intimate connection. So where you might have been confused and uncertain with the relationship, then on Thursday, you might be feeling more compelled to really go deep into the relationship. Then on Friday, the moon is going to leave Cancer. By mid-morning, 9 to 10 a.m., the moon at the end of Cancer will be in harmony with Neptune. So there's a lot of sensitivity, a lot of compassion, empathy, intuition. And then at 10:10 a.m. Pacific time, the moon leaves emotional Cancer and goes into outgoing, dynamic, playful Leo for 2.5 days. And by early afternoon Pacific time, as the moon is now in Leo, it's going to be in harmony with Venus. So there's these 3 stages of development with relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's romantic or, or a committed relationship. On Wednesday, the Venus was opposite Neptune as Mercury was starting to move forwards, and secrets could be starting to be revealed. But then on Thursday, Venus is in harmony with Pluto. Pluto rules secrets, rules the underworld, but it's really, you might be feeling now to understand what was so confusing and why did this happen, and now to really, by Thursday, really explore your intimate feelings. And then by early Friday afternoon, Pacific time, with the emotional moon in harmony with Venus, now you're feeling so much more contented, good for socializing, really feeling like the relationship with Venus-Pluto, it's going really deep, but it could feel really heavy. And then with the moon in fiery Leo, excellent with Venus in Libra, there's more of a lightness going on, more playfulness, ideal for, jump-starting the weekend socially. Saturday, August the 31st, there are no planetary events. The moon continues in Leo, so it's a more calming day, but the moon is in Leo, so it's like no drama, no intense drama. That's what I'll say. But it's very romantic and outgoing and sociable with the moon in Leo. And then on Sunday, September the 1st, the day before the new moon on Monday, the moon is in Leo, but it's going to square this, which could be these unexpected upsets, mid-afternoon Pacific time. Moon to Uranus, there might be some unexpected emotional release or upsets. And Uranus is going retrograde at 27 Taurus. Most people won't feel the outer planets changing directions. It's sort of like impacting society. But if you have any planets that are impacted by about 27 Taurus, you would be feeling this shift. Later in the day, the moon finally leaves outgoing Leo and goes into work-oriented, sensible Virgo at 8:49 p.m. Pacific time, getting ready for the new work week with the new moon in Virgo on Monday. And Virgo is very work-oriented, very sensible, productive energies. I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or to sign up for my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co. That's .co. Until next week, be safe and well.